Show me.
Hello everybody, Martial Arts Film Freak here, and we are back with another Jackie Chan tier list part 2. And I say we because I am of course joined by Shaun from the Food for Thought podcast. Shaun, how we doing?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for having me back.
I am glad to have you because I'm going to need help with some of these,
Okay.
as I usually tend to do with a lot of these, mostly older ones. This isn't as bad as like the late 70s, but there's still quite a bit. There's not as many throughout the late 80s and 90s, so I didn't keep it within the decade of 87 to 97. I moved it up to 2003.
Okay, sounds good.
I think the reason that he didn't have as many movies there is probably because he was given more time for each movie. Like if the final fight of like Legend of Drunken Master or Drunken Master 2 took 3 months and that's just the final fight, imagine how long the rest of the movie took.
Exactly, yeah, unless they're taking them over a year to probably get that all together and shot and finished and completed, yeah.
Yeah, so I imagine that's probably a big cause for not as many movies in that decade, but we'll get through the ones we got, rank them the way we think we should rank them. Lots of good in there, lots of bad, lots of weird, and lots of just even more strange. But let's get into it. Let's rank some more Jackie Chan movies.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so this one, it's a little bit different. It's still honorary Oscar at the top because Jackie Chan has that honorary Oscar, but the bottom this time correlates to Drunken Master 2, and that is Crawling Across Coals or Alcohol Poisoning, whichever one comes first. Both of those, I'm pretty sure you got in the movie, and they are both horrible. But we're going to start with one that you discussed last video, and I'm pretty sure you maybe liked them more than the first, and that is Project Day 2.
Yeah, I think I like it more than the first. It has more memorable sequences for me. I don't think it's seen as so much a classic as the first one, and I understand why. The first one kind of just, you've got Yun Biao in there, you've got Sammo Hung, and it just it works, and everyone's on their A game. But this one just stands out to me. I like it a lot.
It is weird that they, and I know why, but the first one was a Three Dragons film, and this one's just Jackie. But do you know if the rumor is true that the only reason he made this is because the Emperor of Japan doesn't sound right, but some Japanese leader really loved the first one and requested a second one. I could be wrong. This is a weird rumor I've heard.
Oh, I haven't heard that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. And if do you think that he actually gave him the money to make it, or just requested?
I can't imagine he gave him the money, but I imagine it was heavily requested, and Jackie Chan probably just saw an excuse to make another movie.
Yeah, I mean,
at the height of his powers.
Yeah, off the back of a very popular one, it's only right they made a sequel. But yeah, the scaffolding sequence at the end of this one, this is the one with the chili peppers on his hands, right?
Yes, he puts the chili peppers on his hands. He also eats them and spits it in the face of other people.
I'm a big fan.
It's weird that that's like a stunt in itself. Like my favorite stunt in the movie is I think he's on this super tall ladder and he's sliding down it. And then he does a forward roll, catches the ladder again and still slides down the ladder. But then you also forget that he probably legitimately ate a butt ton of really hot peppers, and that's a stunt in itself.
It's actually in the outtakes. It shows him eating real peppers, and he literally has to stop filming. Or as soon as they've got the shot, he starts coughing and needing water immediately. So yeah, pretty impressive. People known for those huge stunts that he does, but those little ones, they're just as impressive.
Well, then you also got to give credit. If the peppers were 100% real the entire time, you also got to give credit to the bad guys who is just rubbing that all over their faces and in their eyes.
True, very true.
So little less action, but still some good fight scenes in this. A whole lot more stunts than I remember than the first one. Yeah. Where do you think you lay this one across this ranking?
I don't think I'd put it at the top. I mean, it has a fond place in my heart, but I think I'd put it up there as an A. I think it's a gem of his filmography.
I cannot argue with that. I've got a feeling this is going to be an A heavy ranking. Moving on to Dragons Forever, I believe your favorite Three Dragons film, and maybe the last Three Dragons film.
Yep, I believe so. What was this? 87?
I was say 87, 88. It's probably about there. Of course, the second legendary battle between Jackie Chan and Benny the Jet, but I think you also get a whole lot of really solid stuff from Jackie and Yuen, of course. Uh, and I think you even get a bit more scrapping between the three of them internally than you do in a lot of the other movies.
Well, this film marks the only time Samo, Jackie, and Yun Biao have ever fought together,
That's what
each
I would
other
think.
at the same time. They fought separately in other films, but this as a three to kind of threesome fight,
Right.
this is the only one. And yeah, we get people forget also the boat fight on this, where Jackie takes his date out to the boat, and that's fantastic fight sequence. It's a little slow in places. I'll give it that, but the comedy works, the action works, and yeah, I think it's my favorite Three Dragons film.
It's definitely probably in the top 2 or 3 for me in terms of the Three Dragons movies. Where do you think this one would land up there?
I don't think it can be argued that this isn't top tier. I mean, this is a just for that last last 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not even like just the Jackie and Benny the Jet fight. Like that whole factory fight scene is a highlight in it for anything.
Oh yeah, the Yun Biao sequence where he's jumping kind of outside the rails and back in. Oh my god, it's just
all the guys in there slamming on metal and concrete like it's no problem.
Yep. The only annoying thing about this film is that Samo gets incapacitated. And
he doesn't get a lot to do in the final bit. But he does get he's the first one to go into that like drug factory, and so he gets to take out a couple guys, and he gets like 40 seconds against Benny the Jet before Benny the Jet takes him out.
He does, yeah.
But he gets his own little moment there.
Yes. But for me, it's definitely cream of the crop.
Honorary Oscar.
I'd say so.
Can't argue with that whatsoever. Next up, this one has some big shoes to fill. The sequel to one of the greatest action movies of all time, Police Story 2. How are you feeling on this one?
I watched it recently, or I should say I rewatched it recently, and I actually remember in my teenage years, I actually preferred this one to the first one, which now looking back is crazy because I rewatched the first one recently again and just, no, the first one is much better. But this one is a solid film. It just doesn't have the energy the first one does. I mean, that playground fight is
dope.
One of my favorite Jackie fights. It's so good. But there's not action beats in it. It doesn't have the same energy. It's a great film. I do love it still. But yeah, it doesn't quite reach the dizzying heights as of the first one.
It has a lot of great. I mean, of course, it's a Jackie Chan movie in the late '80s. It has a lot of amazing fight scenes. What's her name? Maggie Chung gets some decent little stunt work in there. There's an early fight scene in like a restaurant that I posted on Instagram the other day just because it blows my mind. The fight scene's great, but then he kicks a dude out the window, and this dude just slams his head so hard on the sidewalk that I was so sure he was dead.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I think everyone got injured in this one. There's some pretty harsh stunts in it. I think Maggie Chung takes a metal bar to the back of the head?
Bops up the back of her head.
Yeah.
Somebody even, when I posted that clip on Instagram, somebody commented or messaged and was like, well, no, the way he lands, like his back is okay because he like kind of lands on his side. And I'm like, I'm not worried about his back. Watch the way his head bounces. And then the dude just replied and was just like, oh, damn. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, that's definitely a brutal stunt. Also, this film features in my opinion, one of the most underrated on-screen fighters of all time. It's Benny Lam. He plays the mute guy, or is he deaf and mute?
He at least doesn't say words, and he likes throwing firecrackers.
Yes, exactly. But his kicking abilities, they're so good, and he's just never really been highlighted that much.
It says something about that character and that like his fight that when you said the name, I didn't know who you were talking about. But as soon as you like described him, I'm like, oh yeah, that dude's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So we're thinking, sorry, what?
No, I was going to say, maybe this one doesn't quite, get it to the top, but maybe an A film.
I would agree. Would you, if you had to put in an A, would you say above or below Project A2?
Oh, do you know, that is a tricky question. Probably above. Above.
I'd say that, I mean, but just barely because they're great.
Yeah.
Next up, maybe like, well, I was gonna say maybe Jackie's. I was thinking this is kind of like Jackie's last like really huge, just straight up like martial arts centric movie, and that is
Yeah.
Miracles or Godfather and Lady Canton.
hmm Um, this one, yeah, this one's an interesting one for me. Again, I rewatched it recently, and it is, I would say, it's Jackie Chan's best film as a director.
Mhm.
I think it's an amazing looking film. The sets are absolutely fantastic, and it just seems like he invested a lot of time in making the film. But it's a bit slow for my liking. It's I wouldn't say it's hard to get through, but it doesn't hit the action beats as often as I'd like.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't love this one. I think it's good, but obviously the final fight scene is crazy.
I'd say to make up for like the movie being a bit slow, you do get fun enough performances and characters from people like Anita Moy.
Oh, absolutely,
Like she
absolutely.
can make anything just completely watchable.
100%. I agree with you there. And you get a what 7-second Yun Biao cameo in this one. I think he's in it for a matter of seconds.
Billy Chow, of course, coming back again from Dragons Forever. He's one of the big people in the final fight there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Billy Chow. He just looks great on screen. Whenever he fights, he just looks like a beast.
He's such a good bad guy that it's
Y-
weird to say, he should have got something as like a lead, but he's just a great villain.
Yeah, I think him and Dick Wei are
Mhm.
just two guys that are just doomed to be villains, but they make such good villains that it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Yeah, they're great.
So you're thinking maybe a little low on this one, but maybe like a low A or a high B, somewhere around there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would if it went into the A category, I'd perfectly understand it. I just don't think I'm as fond as it of it as some people. So I would understand if most people considered it a low A. I would agree in putting it in there, but maybe in my heart of hearts, it's a higher B for me.
I think I can understand that, and it is a great movie. I do really genuinely enjoy it. I haven't watched it in maybe about 6 years, but I do
Okay.
love it.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got one that I don't prefer. I've probably seen this one like 3 times. It's The Prisoner or Prisoners or Island of Fire.
Yeah, you're going to be a bit on your own on this one. I had this one years ago on VHS. In fact, I've probably got it in this room on VHS somewhere.
I've got it on DVD over there somewhere.
Yeah, I've never picked it up on DVD. I don't even know if there's a Blu-ray of it. And from what I recall, it's more of a gritty drama than anything else. And it just wasn't my cup of tea. But again, I haven't seen it in years. I mean, we're talking literally for me, we're talking about 20 years probably.
It has a fun enough opening fight scene, and the opening fight scene is so fun that it feels separate from the rest of the movie, and like Jackie Chan just wanted to fit it in there. There's a couple like prison fights between Jackie and Andy Lau that are more dramatic than they are anything. They're not great. And spoiler alert for people with this movie that you probably are never going to watch. It's maybe one of the few movies where Jackie dies.
Oh, see, I didn't even remember that happening.
It's got the weird, and maybe it's just weird because I wasn't properly paying attention. I don't know, but like Jackie, Andy, and Samo are all like tasked with this mission that's pretty much just a suicide mission, and it just ends with all 3 of them walking down like a runway or something, each with a handgun, and just at the end they all just get shot and die.
Oh, I don't know who directed this film. Is it Ringo Lam? Did Ringo Lam?
It possibly was. I think Ringo Lam also did like Accidental Spy, but let me see because I honestly don't remember. But it's a good question because I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
Island of Fire.
I could be wrong. That's just who I have in my head because I remember it being a darker film, and Ringo Lam tends to do pretty dark films.
Yen Ping Chu.
Oh wow, that's way off. Wasn't Ringo Lam at all. I don't even know who that person is.
A bunch of Kung Fu Dunk. That's the one I've seen that I see here.
Oh wow, I never saw that.
Yeah, there's one cool fight scene in it. Yeah, I know a lot of people who really like it. I don't care much for it. It's maybe the first one that I'm willing to put in Crawling Across Coals, only because that's what watching parts of it probably felt like.
Well, I'm certainly with you. I don't remember being fond of it at all, and I don't have any plans to revisit it, so I'm comfortable putting it in there.
I'm sure that's going to make some people upset, but you know what? Comment below. Engagement's important.
Dang. Yeah.
That leads us to Operation Condor, which I rewatched it like last week, 2 weeks ago. Oh my god, this movie's so entertaining.
This film is. I know everyone loves it, and I know it's universally liked. However, somehow it's still underrated. This film is fantastic. It's one of my favorite Jackie films. It's it gets going and it doesn't stop. And it's like his big, Armor of God, I get is kind of his big Indiana Jones film, but this one just feels bigger and better.
Yeah, no, the finale of it, like there's not like a bigger final fight than the last one, but just the finale in terms of the entertainment, the action, the comedy, way bigger than the last one.
Yeah.
It's less action, martial arts action kind of overall, and more leads towards the entertainment aspect. But that it just completely, totally works. The cast is great and everything. I was watching this. Sabrina was in the room trying to read, and there's a scene in like a hotel where they get invaded by some robbers or terrorists and stuff like that. This movie's probably got some characters that don't really hold up PC wise, but
Definitely, yeah.
She was just so thoroughly entertained that she was staring at the screen for the entirety of that like 20-minute scene, and she's like, I'm trying to read. I can't. I've got to leave.
Yeah, that whole kind of hotel room sequence is fantastic. When he's trying to get the gun and everyone's trying to get the gun, he's kind of flicking it up with the rug and things like that, and then the pull away towel trick, and just it's so clever. There's just so many little jokes in this one that is just great. I am a massive fan of Operation Condor, and I can't wait for it to get. It's Armor of God. Operation Condor's already got a Blu-ray release, right?
This is confusing because like this is, like I said, it's part of that like 8-movie combo pack thing I have.
Yeah.
So Armor of God is the first one, and then the second one is Armor of God Operation Condor.
Right, and then 88 Films, they released Operation Condor on Blu-ray first.
Okay.
And then Armor of God comes out later this year.
But so it's confusing because on my like DVD thing, they're both on the same disc, and it gives you the option of which one you want to watch. Oh, okay. It essentially labels them wrong. Like the first one I think is just labeled like Operation Condor, Armor of God, and then the second one is labeled Operation Condor 2. I don't know. It's freaking confusing. I don't know.
Right.
I hate it. And I've like discussed this movie online, and people have been like, you don't know what you're talking about. You got the wrong. It's because this DVD has just messed with my whole perspective.
Yeah, understandable. I hate when they do that with titles. It can get super confusing.
So I know it's weird that this one probably doesn't have as good of fight scenes as a lot of the other ones, but are you willing to put this, maybe say an honorary Oscar?
Yeah, it's definitely, possibly my second favorite Jackie Chan film, I think.
And it's seriously just on entertainment value alone. It's just such an entertaining movie.
Yeah, great stuff.
And then we got Twin Dragons. Double Dragon.
Twins
Dragon. Double Dragon's a different movie.
It is.
Twin Dragons. Yes, Jackie Chan doing the twin thing. Special effects aren't that great. You can definitely see some lines going down the screen at some points.
I haven't seen this one in a while. And I actually remember watching this one and finding it quite humorous and quite fun. Again, I probably need to revisit it. It probably doesn't hold up all that well from when I had it years ago. But the fight in the mechanics is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think it's probably one of the best in terms of handling like, I don't know, I guess the twin thing of it. Like they're separated at birth. They have no idea that the other one exists. And so all these things keep happening whenever they're like in the same vicinity. Like people will, if one's girlfriend will see the other one and be like, oh, hey. And then he's just like, I don't know who you are. That plays really well. And then like the moment that they like meet each other, just like in a restroom, they've both just been like, the past few days have been weird. Seeing that you exist, this just makes everything make sense. Like it's not weird to them whatsoever, just because it actually fills in the holes of the things they've been experiencing. Right.
And if I recall correctly, is there some weird one of them moves one way and the other one moves the same way?
So one of them's a pianist, and when he's playing, the other one will just like his hands and fingers will start moving, and yeah, it is. I don't think that's how twins work.
As far as I know, I'm not a scientist, but I believe that's not how it works.
I think there's even like one of them is in a fight scene, and the other one's supposed to be like at like a coffee date. And I guess because the other one's arms are moving around, he just starts like flinging everywhere, and he just throws coffee all over the place. It's entertaining enough. It's not great. I'd say B if you think that as well.
I think that's fair. Doesn't this film have a lot of cameos in it as well?
Yes, I put down the doctor in it. There's a doctor at one point. That is Lau Kar Lung.
Right. Okay.
One of these like criminal dudes is Wang Lung Wei.
Yeah,
I think that may be all I wrote down.
I know I've mentioned him before, and I'm throwing his name all over the place, but I think Ringo Lam might be in this film as well.
Yeah, and also David Chang.
Oh, David Chang's in it. Oh,
yes,
wow.
David Chang is in it. I don't know who he's supposed to be. I can't remember, but yes, he is in it.
Yeah, nice cameos.
I'd agree on B on that.
Okay.
Super Cop, a lot of people's absolute favorite Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, I don't see it.
I like this film, but I can see why people don't like it. I think the obvious point is it just doesn't have fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't have.
It's very stunt heavy.
Yeah, stunt heavy. Not many fight scenes. There's a great fight right at the beginning. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's when they first go to see all the trainees, and he has that little fight,
like sparring session.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great, but. I like it because I like the stunts, and it is stunt heavy, and the stunts that are in it are big and impressive. But compared to the first two Police Story films, I don't know. It's a strange one, this one, because I know in my head it's better. Sorry, I know in my head it's worse than Police Story 2, but I would be more likely to rewatch Police Story 3 than watch the second one.
That's very true. It is very rewatchable. The stunts are very cool. Michelle Yeoh almost owns this movie.
Yeah.
And Jackie hated that, I think. That made him do bigger and better stunts because he's like, oh, clearly Michelle Yeoh has better fight scenes than me. I'm going to hang from a helicopter.
Yeah, and the fact that she does the motorbike train jump. Yes. I mean, that's crazy.
She also, like, there's one blooper where she, like, falls backwards onto the car Jackie's driving, and she just falls off.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can't be fun. You signed on to just do some fight scenes, and you just fell off the hood of a car.
Yeah, she did a lot in this film. Yeah, it's and also this commits an absolute crime because you've got Jackie Chan, you've got Yun Wah, and they don't fight.
I was just thinking about him. Yeah, he doesn't have a fight scene in this movie.
No, not at all. It's crazy.
So I know so many people are gonna put this in the top honorary Oscar. It's one of the greatest Jackie Chan movies ever made. I'm like seriously debating it in my head, and I can't push it past A.
I would put it as an A. I think on entertainment value alone, it's an A film. And I can understand people that want just a nice slice of entertainment will love this film. I just, yeah, it's not quite at the top for me.
Yeah, not quite there for me either. I understand why people think it's like the greatest action Jackie Chan movie ever made. I can't push it that far.
Yeah.
From the straightforward action movie to the anime-inspired City Hunter that gets absolutely bonkers.
Oh, it's by far Jackie's wildest film. This film is crazy.
He, at one point, is so hungry that he, seeing a woman in a bikini, is staring at her breasts, but we see from his perspective, he thinks they're hamburgers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is maybe one of the best ways to sum up City Hunter.
Yeah, this film is obviously it's a Wong Jing film, so it's definitely out there. I think it's even out there for a Wong Jing film. It's pretty crazy. Definitely not your typical Jackie film, but I will have to say something on this film. I love this film. Like more than most people. I absolutely adore this film. But I can understand how some people watch it, and I'd never have my wife or friends watch this film.
Oh no, this is not for everyone at all.
Definitely not. It's bizarre. It's a spoof, but It's a surreal spoof. But then again, there are fantastic action sequences in it.
See, it gives up an action scene at one point for comedy, and that is Jackie Chan versus Gary Daniels. We get like a little
Yeah.
taste of it in like a in like a because they're on a cruise ship, like they're in like a suite room, and you get a little taste of their action. But then when you actually do go to get a Gary Daniels Jackie Chan fight scene, Jackie falls into and is electrocuted by a Street Fighter arcade machine.
Yeah.
And from that point on, he is not just Chun Li, he's also I'm blanking on the sumo wrestler guy. I can think of his
E-Honda.
E Honda. I was gonna say Genryu, and that's Tekken. I'm pretty sure it's Tekken. Someone's getting mad at me if I'm wrong. But yes, he turns into a couple Street Fighter characters, and he fights Gary Daniels as Ken, which I would watch a Street Fighter movie with Gary Daniels as Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the year was 1994.
Yes. I think everyone knows. Everyone, even if you're not familiar with this film, everyone's somehow seen that scene as Jackie Chan as Chun-Li. But yeah, not to everyone's tastes. I mean, even the fight against he mimics Bruce Lee's fight against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Two tall guys, and even that scene is played for mostly laughs at times. Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why I love this film so much.
I think even in that scene, like the screen, like Bruce Lee like talks to him in that scene or something. Like after he like beats up the two guys, like Bruce Lee like says something, and Jackie like kind of looks at the screen and is like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I think Bruce Lee says something like "good fight" or something.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's so odd. I think because I grew up on like Monty Python, so I was a big fan of very surreal, out there comedy, and this just does it for me. And Richard Norton against Jackie at the end.
Yes,
fantastic.
that is very solid fight scene.
Yeah. I would struggle with this one. I'll put it wherever you want to put it because I know that my love for it is kind of above and beyond.
I think I'm willing to put it in A, but it's like it's a completely different movie than any of the other just straight up action movies. It's a completely different movie.
By far. It's like Jackie's never done anything like it.
No. Also, probably got to mention what's her name, Joey Wong.
Joey Wong's in it. Yeah. Ching Mi Yao's in it.
Yeah, there's a couple people in there that I think people are pretty big fans of.
Yes.
So now you've said a couple movies like Dragon Fist and of course Young Master are some of his more underrated. I think this next one is one of his most underrated, and that is Crime Story.
Nice. I bought the Blu-ray a while ago and I haven't watched it, and I don't know what I'm waiting for because people talk very highly about this film as being one of his kind of finest performances. Maybe not his most action-packed film, one of his better performances.
It is a much darker Jackie Chan movie. There's not even a whole lot of action. It is mostly sort of just this crime story, and then you get a few fights peppered in. But I don't know. It's so watchable, and I really just thoroughly enjoy it. Every time I watch it, I'm just completely enamored with it. I think it's even inspired by like a real life like murder case.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've read that somewhere.
So yeah. I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about in terms of like action or anything. It's just a good movie. I don't know what to tell you on that.
Yeah, I think I'd struggle with this one just simply because I barely remember anything about it, but it is on my to watch list.
It is the weirdest year for me in Jackie Chan because City Hunter and Crime Story are the same year, and they could not be the most polar opposite movies.
Yeah. But it's what would you think? Putting it in like A somewhere around there?
I'm in A on it. It's
okay,
again just like City Hunter. It's not like any of the other action movies. It is really, really different, but it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Next up is just one that we know where it's going because it is one of the definitive Jackie Chan movies: Drunken Master 2 or Legend of Drunken Master.
Yep.
I mean, it's just one of the greatest of all time, really.
Yeah, it's one of the crown jewels of the genre. Jackie Chan's return to kind of like old school style fight scenes. I mean, there's a few negatives. It's a little slow in places, but that's the only argument. I mean, otherwise it's just fight filled. Lau Kar Lung's in it. It's great.
I mean, that's what, like I brought up earlier, Jackie spent 3 months alone on the final fight, and I think that averages to something like they got 4 seconds of usable footage a day.
Yeah.
That's freaking, imagine going to work and working for 12, possibly up to like even like 16, 18 hours, and going home knowing you got 4 seconds of usable footage.
That's crazy. 4 seconds. They must have been putting so much just into those fight scenes. Just his eye, or just his perfection, his eye for perfection must have just been. I mean, it pays off though.
Right, it
The
pays
final
off
fight scene
entirely.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. It's one of the greatest final fight scenes of
think how
ever.
like it's so nuts compared to like modern action stuff. Like I think that's just like a 7 minute long fight scene. The final fight scene in Raid Redemption is also 7 minutes long, but they did that in a week. This one took 3 months. Like a Scott Adkins movie is so low budget that they're not even given 1 month to shoot an entire movie.
No.
Which is a testament to, the choreography skills of Scott and all of his pals. But Jesus Christ, so much time just for one fight scene, and it pays off completely.
Yeah, it just proves that, if you give, back in '94, should we say, if you gave Jackie time and, enough money for his production, he would deliver gold. And this is it. Great film.
It is one of the greatest of all time. No one can deny it. It's going an honorary Oscar.
Yep.
This one's a little controversial in my opinion. Rumble in the Bronx.
I might be with you on this one. I recently rewatched it.
It's really good. But past the first half, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, it's a strange film. It's very cheesy. Like, if you want to talk about a film that is 90s cheese, I mean, this just reeks of it. It's so cheesy, but it's very entertaining. It suffers. Again, the greatest crime this film commits is that there's no final fight scene. It's just Jackie.
It's all stunts at the end, but
yeah, it's just a big hovercraft driving around, and it's not much fun at all. But it's a fun film. It's good. I don't rate it as highly as some people, but
no,
it's a good slice.
The fights that are there are wonderful and very, very fun, especially because when someone brings up how Jackie. It's it's almost more of an American thing than it is a Hong Kong thing. People, Jackie, when he fights, he uses his environment.
Yeah.
He uses the tool, he'll throw a couch at you, he'll pick up a stool, he'll do whatever, he'll MacGyver the room. But that feels like such an American action Jackie Chan thing that Rumble in the Bronx is the perfect example when he gets to the villain's clubhouse and he's using the refrigerator and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, there's a distinct difference, I think, between his Hollywood style and his Hong Kong style. In Hollywood, or some of his Hollywood films, he tends to do a lot more dodging using his environment. But in Rumble in the Bronx, he's actually hitting people.
Right.
It's not just him constantly running away. He's actually attacking as well. So it kind of balances things out quite nicely.
I know we got one coming up that people are going to say, well, in First Strike, he used a ladder. That's not what I'm talking about. But... It's generally very enjoyable. The fight scenes that are there are really good, but after that clubhouse fight scene, the rest of it's stunts, but they're not in my opinion the most amazing stuff. They're cool, they're fun. That's just really it. They're fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's one of the most beloved Jackie Chan movies of all time, but I'm really conflicted between A and B.
In my opinion, I put it as B. I don't think it rates up there with the likes of Police Story 2. Put it like right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'll definitely watch it many, many more times. But
yeah,
I don't hold it up to where a lot of people hold it up to. No. C is still empty. The next one, I don't know if this is all up to you. I've never seen it. That is, what is it? Thunderbolt or something? Thunderbolt.
I think this will be our first C film because I've never seen it either.
So we'll put it in C just to be nice. I've had many opportunities to watch this one. The store I used to work at. We'd had our international section, and I'd always check the international section for something new. And this was always there. And I would just go on YouTube real quick, and I'd look at my phone, and I'd watch a fight scene, and I'd be like, I'm okay. But I never got around to it.
From what I gather, there's only one fight scene in this film. It's all driving. It's literally, Jackie Chan's version of Days of Thunder, pretty much. And I hear it's actually quite a good film, but again, not what you expect from Jackie because it's all cars all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I ever will watch it. But that leads us to the one I just brought up a second ago, Jackie Chan's First Strike or Police Story 4. And I don't know about you, but in my opinion, the
Yeah.
worst Police Story movie.
I don't even count it as a police story movie.
No.
I mean, it's if Super Cop or Police Story 3 is a step away from Police Story 1 and 2, this is a mile away from all of them. This is not even close. It's again, it's fine, it's enjoyable, it's a fun movie you could just stick on when it's rainy outside on a Sunday afternoon, and you could get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Is it top tier Jackie? Nope, far from it. It has its moments. I mean, it's goofy. The plot's all over the place, but it has a fair few solid action scenes, I'd say.
Right. I mean, the only bits I remember are, and I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times, the only bits I remember are him running away from Nathan Jones and the other big tall guy, which Nathan Jones, before Protector, before even Troy, like I don't even know if he was wrestling at this point. This was probably like just after him trying to be a pride fighter. But yeah, I remember that, and I remember the ladder fight. That's generally all I remember about this movie.
Yeah, there is a fantastic underwater sequence in this, where Jackie doesn't have a breathing apparatus and he has to steal other people's.
I'm remembering this as you talk about it.
Yeah, it's really good, and there's a shark swimming around, and he ends up cutting people on the thumbs, and it's very, very clever. It's just it's not fast paced, and it's kind of not what you expect from Jackie, but it's enjoyable. Yeah, it's very similar to Rumble in the Bronx. I'd say it's got that feel to it.
Gotcha. I understand that. So is that you saying B?
I would say B or a good C.
Good C.
What do you feel on this?
Yeah. B is okay. B is fine.
Okay.
So this one you may have to take the lead on because I've only seen Mr. Nice Guy maybe one time, and I was like 5 years old, and all I remember is at the end he's driving like a forklift or something.
Yeah. Warner Brothers nicely put this out on Blu-ray a few months ago in its glorious uncut version. And I don't remember what the cut version was compared to this because I can't see that anything got cut from it. But hey, it's okay. It's a lot like First Strike. It's got that 90s Jackie feel to it. Unfortunately, it's got Richard Norton as the bad guy. We don't get Jackie versus Richard Norton at the end for some crazy reason.
Directed by Sammo Hung, right?
Yeah. It's got, this one has I'm sure everyone's seen it, the famous construction site fight scene.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. It's really, really good. I mean, it's got Jackie going over a circular saw like an insane person and almost getting caught on it. It's good, but again, it's just an entertaining 90 minutes. It's not up there with his best. I would again put this in the B category.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't put it anywhere above that. It's fun. It's a fun film.
I do plan on picking up that new Warner Brothers release, but
yeah, it's worth it. It's worth having it.
I'll get back to it. I don't know why. I only saw it once, and I was just like, I just never felt the urge to return to it. But Who Am I? Which I've maybe got some controversial thoughts on Who Am I, but what are you thinking?
I'd love to hear your controversial thoughts because I think I might have some. I watched this for our podcast, and I didn't love it as nearly as much as I used to.
So it's mostly forgettable up until the rooftop fight scene.
Pretty much, right? I mean, that's basically it. The plot of this one is just all over the place. It's just a mess. It's an excuse for just Jackie to go places and do things, and there isn't really much action until the rooftop scene. I mean, there's a little bit.
There's a car chase.
Yeah, there's a car chase, and then there's the fight scene where he has to jump into the tiny wooden shoes and things like that.
Yes.
It's fine, but I think this one in my opinion is not necessarily hard to get through, but it's definitely one of his slogs. It's not fun.
Right.
This one.
I have seen that final fight scene maybe 50 times. Yep. I have seen this movie 3.
And weirdly, I think it's universally like loved, this film, but I'm pretty sure people just love it for that final fight sequence.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone really loves it for what comes before that because there isn't much to really like that
No,
much.
I've got like nothing to say about the rest of this movie.
No, it's yeah, it really is not. I used to love it, but it's not nearly as good as I used to think. Yeah,
People are
good.
probably going to be mad, but how do you feel about C?
C is good, and people will definitely be mad about that. But
Yes.
hey, it's subjective. What can you say? Some people like things, some people don't.
Some people are wrong. But that takes us to, I guess, what you could maybe. I mean, Rumble in the Bronx is supposed to be an American movie, but that movie is Hong Kong as hell.
Yeah.
But Rush Hour, technically Jackie's, I guess, first really big actual hit in America.
Yeah, yeah. From what I remember, that's it, and that's that's the big one. That's people were introduced to Jackie with Rush Hour, and it stands out as being still to this day easily one of his best American films, I'd say.
It was definitely a big intro point for me growing up. My big martial arts on screen things were, it wasn't even a Bruce Lee movie. It was Dragon the Bruce Lee story. We had it on we had it on VHS.
Yeah.
And then of course Rush Hour, and then I watched just a butt ton of Power Rangers. But yes, it's good. It is your typical like 90s buddy cop
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you do get a good back and forth between Jackie and Chris Tucker. They are a wonderful pairing. And the action's fun enough. You know, you're not going to get like the most incredible Jackie fights ever, but you are going to get very entertaining Jackie fights.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know if it's aged well or not because it's definitely been some years since I've seen it. But the rapport between Jackie and Chris Tucker is great. And yeah, I remember the action being solid. You know, nothing that's going to blow you away, but it's good.
I have thought about many times because every time I go to Best Buy, they've got like you've seen a steelbook, the full trilogy.
Oh, nice.
Every time I go to Best Buy, I'm like, do I want this? Do I? And I never get it. And it's honestly mainly just, it has nothing against Jackie, nothing against Chris Tucker. They are the highlights of this entire movie, and they are the entire movie. And my only negative real thoughts about this movie is I don't like Brett Ratner. That's my only problem with this movie.
But yeah, he's notoriously a piece of shit.
Yeah,
so.
he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. I think the only problem with picking up the trilogy as well is that you'd have to own the third film, and no one wants to own the
Yes,
third
I was
film.
also thinking about that. Like so that movie, it's not even here, but there's a weird thing that Hollywood does, and I mean, you know, we all know about it, where just if you're Asian, you can play any Asian. And
Yes.
one where that really bugs me, Hiroyuki Sanada is Japanese, right?
Yes.
So in the third one, Hiroyuki Sanada comes in and Jackie's like, "That's my brother. Oh God!" And I'm like, "That doesn't work at all." But okay.
Yeah, it's the third one makes weird choice, terrible. I hate that film. I've only seen it once and I hated it.
Yeah, I've seen it like twice.
Yeah, not
but we're talking about the first one. A or honorary?
Oh, that's really tough because what it signifies in the career of Jackie Chan is something major, like enough to say it's honorary Oscar. But in terms of how good it is, I put it as A. So I don't know.
I think so too. I think it is an A film and action and all that. But I'm gonna put it an A for that. But it is definitely what made Jackie a household name in the States, and not just probably in the States, but even probably, most of the Western world.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I heard this thing, I can't remember from where, but because Jackie sort of loses a bit of his power on American movies, it bugged him so much, similar to where he left America and was like, screw you guys, I'm going back to make Police Story. He did the same thing where he said, fuck this, I'm going back to make Gorgeous. How do you feel about Gorgeous? Have you watched it recently? Not
recently, no. I watched it a long time ago. I think I have it on DVD. I'm not entirely sure. I definitely got it on VHS, but I'm not sure about DVD. I couldn't tell you what happens in most of this film, but I can tell you that I recall not being the biggest fan of it. I am
I can't even think of the word that I'm trying to think of. I am definitely very outspoken for this movie. I think it has the perfect amount of like fun, silly fights, and then it has the perfect serious, awesome fights. There's some plot in between there that is meh.
Yep.
I think it's Tony Leung plays what is probably an extremely offensive gay character. And then he also, yes,
I didn't even know he was in it.
yeah, he's a big part of it. He also has other gay friends that are also probably very offensive.
Okay.
But if we ignore those things, like horrible people, probably, yeah, I mean, I genuinely just watch it for the fight scenes, and Jackie's fun enough, but like there's an opening fight scene on a boat, it's a lot of fun. There's a fight scene where a bunch of bad guys come at him with baseball bats, and I think that is excellent.
That's a great scene.
That's a great fight scene.
They're on motorbikes, right? And they get off
Yeah,
the
and they're like, they have like masks. They have like president masks.
That's a great fight.
That's a wonderful fight.
About that. Yeah.
And then of course the two fights with the late, great, legendary, amazing Brad Allen.
Absolutely. I mean, Brad Allen just stands out as being just an absolute legend for those fight scenes alone. Yeah, and a great leading lady. I mean,
Kishu.
Yeah, and Joe, I found out today. I actually found out today. She's 45 years old. She looks about 23. To this day, she looks incredible.
Sounds about right. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. I like her as a leading lady, but I don't remember her too much in this film. Like, I don't remember many fight scenes. I couldn't remember the baseball bat.
There's really only the four. There's the opening boat, there's the bats and the motorcycles, and then the two Brad Allen fights.
Right. I'm going to leave it to you. You can put this one wherever, because I
think this is a very strong A. I seriously, I love it a lot. It's great. The fight scenes are amazing. Tony Leung, let's ignore that, but everything else, it's generally just a very, very entertaining, good watch.
Yeah, I remember Jackie Chan using a lot of exercise equipment in this film. Is that right?
Well, he plays essentially like a millionaire, maybe billionaire. And so I'm pretty sure he has like an expensive home gym in his house.
Okay.
You may have to take the lead on this one, Shanghai Noon.
Have you never seen it?
I think I saw it once when it came out, and I don't remember much of it.
I will go on record here and now saying Shanghai Noon is better than Rush Hour.
Okay.
A lot of people don't agree. A lot of people say Rush Hour is way better. No, not at all. Shanghai Noon it's Jackie Chan in a Wild West setting. Somehow it just works perfectly. It's so good. It's genuinely funny. Owen Wilson and him are great. Whereas obviously we know Chris Tucker is rather, I guess you could call him loud and obnoxious. Owen Wilson's the complete opposite. He's completely laid back. And it's just, I love Shanghai Noon. I think it's a fantastic film.
So in like Rush Hour, Jackie is obviously playing the straight man.
Yeah.
It's would you say in like Shanghai Noon, just because Jackie has like the action and is kind of the wild card, that makes Owen Wilson kind of the straight man there?
I don't think there is a straight man. I think it's the comedy in it. It's a weird dynamic that they have. They kind of just frustrate each other. Because I suppose Jackie's the straight man because he's the one with a quest. He's got something to do, whereas Owen Wilson's just messing around and kind of fooling around. But the action sequences, there's not a ton. It picks up towards the end, but there's a barroom brawl in it that's great. Jackie Chan uses a rope dart, which is just a rope tied to a horseshoe, which is a fantastic
I remember
scene.
that. I've seen that, yeah.
I don't know why this one just sits with me as being one of his better ones, better Hollywood films. Lucy Liu, can't go wrong with Lucy Liu. She's great in it. Yeah, I really like this one.
So you say it's better than Rush Hour? Does that just obviously put it in A?
I definitely put it in A. It's definitely not honorary Oscar. It can't be that good, but definitely up there. Yeah, I love that film. Actually, I need to watch it again.
I may have to return to it then.
Yeah, you should. It's honestly, I should own it on Blu-ray. I don't think I do, but it's well worth picking up.
I think at the time, I probably just wasn't a very big Owen Wilson fan. What did this come out, like 2003? So I was 6. So as a 6-year-old, I was like, I don't care about Owen Wilson.
That's fair. And I think it's actually aged well. I think whereas maybe some of Chris Tucker hasn't quite aged well,
Mhm.
but I think Owen Wilson, I think his comedy just works in that film.
I don't. Do we not have it on here? Do we not? Oh wait, no. What? Hold on. What year did Around the World in 80 Days come out in 2005?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I
I
don't
gotta
know.
remember. Did
Are you
I
missing one?
watch it today for nothing? No, it was the year after. It was 2000. It's just the year after this. It's 2004. So I did watch it for nothing. Well, maybe we'll come back. I don't know.
So
So
we're going up to 2003.
yeah, we go up to
Okay.
2003 here.
Okay.
So Accidental Spy. Have you seen this recently?
I watched it last week for this video.
What did you think?
I thought it was the most blah Jackie Chan film I've ever seen. It's
I
so mediocre.
pretty much completely, I think, agree with that.
It's almost offensively mediocre. Like none of even the naked fight, very clever, very interesting.
The only
Yeah.
thing I remember from the movie before rewatching it was there was a naked fight.
It's probably what I'll remember a week from now because everything else is just instantly forgettable. I don't know why I thought Scott Adkins was in this film for some odd reason. I thought he was in it. Definitely not. Just lame. Just not a good film.
It was baffling how just nothing it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't put it better. Just a nothing film. Nothing happens, or too much happens to even keep your interest. It's the plot's all over the place. It's uninteresting, uninspired. It's Jackie just going through the motions. He has some moments that are like, oh, that's cool, that's Jackie, but nothing that sets it out. Sets
I
it
think
apart
the
from the rest.
final stunt is cool,
Yeah,
and it's definitely terrifying, but it's not. One stunt is not saving a movie whatsoever.
yeah. I think that's a bit like Who Am I when he goes down the side of the building at the end.
Mhm.
You're like, oh my god, that's crazy, but it's not enough to save the film.
No. So
Yeah,
I think we can both agree crawling across coals.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to Rush Hour 2. I think people love Rush Hour, and I don't think people love Rush Hour 2 as much.
See, I remember, I mean, granted, I haven't seen it in a while. I remember preferring the second one to the first one.
I was thinking that. I thought that as a kid. This one has the massage parlor fight. It has Ji Zhang.
Yep.
And what else am I missing here that is also in this movie that I thought was good?
Is this? No, I'm getting confused with the first one. Yeah. Wait,
It doesn't have where he's holding up the vases. That's in the first.
Is that the first one? Okay,
That's
that's
the
what I was
first one.
thinking. Okay, that's what I was trying
Maybe
to
it's
think of.
maybe it says something bad that I can't remember the thing I like about this movie. But I there's genuinely a lot to enjoy in it.
Yes. What's the finale of this one? What happens in the finale then?
That I was trying to enjoy. I trying to remember. I remember Chris Tucker kills Ji Zhang. That is something I remember.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember the finale very well of this one. I remember just preferring the comedy in this one. I thought it was a bit smarter and
Jackie and Chris Tucker had better, having worked with each other before and now have better chemistry.
exactly, and they did. Obviously, in the first one we have Jackie, who's the fish out of water, and in this one we have Chris Tucker, who's the fish out of water, and it's great. This one I think has the karaoke scene with Chris Tucker singing Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Can't go wrong. That's genuinely funny. Yeah, I like it. Obviously, I wouldn't put it. I certainly wouldn't put it higher than the first one. I'd say it's on par.
On par with the first. I mean, yeah, they're both fairly pleasant movies.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're very easy watches. They're two films I'd like to revisit at some point.
Mm-hmm. At least they're not the third one.
No, the third one would be way down.
This may be one of the, well, it maybe is the worst American Jackie Chan movie, and that is The Tuxedo.
Yeah. Haven't seen this one in quite some time, but I remember it being fairly dismal.
Yeah, there's this issue that I have with a lot of American Jackie Chan movies, and again, this is like not counting Rumble in the Bronx because it is such a more Hong Kong movie.
Yeah.
Why can't Jackie just be the main character in anything? He has to be like teamed up with somebody all the time. Even in like The Foreigner, you could even say that's barely even a Jackie Chan movie, and it's a freaking, what's his Bond name?
Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, that's so much more a Pierce Brosnan movie with Jackie Chan lingering in the background.
Yeah. I don't think they, for some odd reason, think he can hold his own like weight in a film. I don't know whether that's because maybe
Thick accent or something.
thick accent is a problem. I don't know, but it's ridiculous. He's been in so many films where he's been the leading man and has done a fantastic job.
That's not even like, and like him not even just having this movie to himself is not even the problem with the movie. I was just thinking, like, if you think of all the people that Jackie has teamed up with, whether it be Steve Coogan, Owen Wilson, and Chris Tucker, like the last person you even think of, not counting probably everyone in the last movie we're going to talk about here, is what's her frickin' I can't remember her dang name.
Is this Jennifer Love Hewitt? This one?
No. Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I knew that was one of them, but yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt's an interesting choice.
I guess it's just because she was so popular at the time that it's like, let's just partner up with Jackie Chan. But like, I don't care.
Yeah, she must have been coming off the back of, I don't know when. I Know What You Did Last Summer was fair. I don't know.
That, and what's that TV show she did? I don't even remember when that TV show she did was. Was that The Medium? Yeah. The Medium was what I was thinking of earlier.
I don't know. She was in Criminal Minds later on, though. I don't know.
And you know what? And it says something about this movie that we're talking more about Jennifer Love Hewitt than we are about Jackie Chan.
Yeah. I remember not liking this one. I also didn't like this one because they enhanced Jackie. You don't need to enhance him in order for him to do great stuff, but they made him jump high and did goofy stuff and just didn't care.
They made him Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to watch a movie with this kind of plot, go watch Upgrade.
Definitely watch Upgrade.
Just go watch Upgrade. I want to put that in the bottom here.
Yes, please do.
And I think you maybe hate this one. It is Shanghai Nights.
I do.
Again, this is all you because I remember nothing from this.
Yeah, I do hate this film. Whereas the first one was clever and kind of low key and smart, this one is absolute garbage. They just take the theme. The first one was, oh hey, it's Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson in the Wild Wild West. This one, they throw them in. They put them in London and they introduce Sherlock Holmes, and it's Charlie Chaplin's in it, and it's all these nods to, oh look at this character, he's over here, and and it's too in your face and on the nose, and it's just no good. And the fight sequences in this are so dance-like and over the top and theatrical. I just genuinely dislike them. Yeah, no good. Of course, I can't say the same thing about the final fight because it's Jackie Chan against Donnie Yen.
That is true. Yes, I have, of course, seen the final fight several times. It's not great. It's not an amazing fight, but it's Jackie Chan versus Donnie Yen, so I'm going to watch it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I believe on the Blu-ray or DVD, there's an extended version of it, which I've seen, which is nice, getting to see extra footage of that. But that's the only good bit in the film.
Who is the female co-lead or supporting role in this movie?
I don't know the actress's
It's a
name.
fairly big name, though. It may even be like...
Is it?
Ki Shu, maybe. I don't even... Oh, Shanghai Nights. Shanghai?
You got it? Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, maybe not. I see.
Fan Wong?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you who that is. I'm wrong.
Yeah. It's no good. But then again, I wouldn't put it as far down as like the Tuxedo. I would say Shanghai Nights is at least somewhat entertaining. It has its moments.
Since this one takes place in the UK, I just kind of want to talk a little bit, since I just watched it 2 minutes before we started recording this, Around the World in 80 Days, which does have quite a few points that take place in the UK. I only just want to mention it because 2 parts made me laugh genuinely very hard, and 3 parts kind of. And I don't know if it's because I'm an idiot, but I found it extremely funny for some reason. There's a random character. There's like the British Hall of Great Science or something. I don't know. And there's some random character named like Lord Salisbury. And I'm like, that's weird. That dude's name is Salisbury, like Salisbury steak. And then 2 minutes later, he comes up with an idea, and like the guy in charge goes, brilliant. I will name a beef-related entree after you. And I was on the floor laughing. I don't know why. It's a stupid joke, and I loved it. And then when they finally return to London, again, I'm only talking about this because Shanghai Night takes place in London.
Yeah.
This giant globe falls in the street, and Steve Coogan points at New Zealand and goes, "Oh, New Zealand, we didn't go there." Stupid joke. I laughed my
Yeah.
ass off.
I think Shanghai Nights is like those jokes over and over and over and over. Like there's,
Mhm.
in the first film, Shanghai Noon, Jackie Chan is called Chong Wang. I think it's
Yeah, so
Chong
it's like
Wang.
John Wayne. Yeah.
Like John Wayne. In this one, I think at the end, I think he says something like changing his name to Clint Eastwood, and he says,
I was
"Oh,
gonna
that's
say,
a
isn't there like a
terrible
Clint
name."
Eastwood joke also in there?
Oh yeah, it's trash. I'd put it as a C because I think I'm
Yeah.
just being overly mean to it because I just
No,
don't
I'm
like it at
completely
all.
cool with it. I know that don't Devin and Cyrus like love it, or at least Cyrus does.
They do, yes.
Also, random
Mhm.
role, random person that is in Around the World in 80 Days. Lots of huge names in it. Maggie
Mhm.
Q.
Really?
There is a fight scene in India, and when they're getting attacked by these bandits, the Black Scorpions, this woman jumps down and is flinging around a sword, and it barely focuses on her face because I guess she wasn't famous yet. And I'm like, that's Maggie Q.
Wow.
Yeah,
She's
big
come
surprise.
come a long way.
Yeah, let's talk about the medallion because that's probably not very good. I don't remember it being very good.
Who's he partnered with in this one? Is that
So
Claire Forlani?
he's partnered with two people. One of them is
Okay.
like a British comedian whose name I never remember.
Lee Evans.
Yes, Lee Evans.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember the woman's name.
Is it Claire Forlani? I'm guessing.
Yes, Lee
It
Evans
is?
and
Okay.
Claire Forlani.
Yes.
You also get like Julian Sands as the bad guy and John Rhys Davies. Don't remember that.
Oh.
But you were talking about you maybe thought Scott Adkins was an accidental spy, but Scott Adkins is in the medallion.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, there is also the action director on this, I believe, was also Sammo Hung.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's weird.
Um,
I remember Scott Adkins specifically watching this movie when I was like 6 years old,
mhm.
and like I seriously remembered him in this movie, but didn't know who he was.
Right.
And so then when the Boyka films come out and I'm a bit older, I'm like, oh, this dude's great. What's he been in? And I go look at the medallion. I'm like, oh shit, that's him in the medallion.
Yeah, I didn't remember him, and I don't know why I thought he was an accidental spy. I knew he was obviously. I've seen a picture with him behind the scenes with Jackie, and I just guess I
Yeah,
didn't
holding
remember the film.
holding like a prop gun.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't remember much about this film. I remember Lee Evans is super annoying in most things he's in.
Jackie gets a medallion that gives him immortality for a bit.
Does it give him other powers or just immortality?
I think it's just immortality because like he dies holding the medallion and then he comes back and then like he gets like cut and then you just see like a bright light as the wound heals and then they just start playing with it by just like stabbing him over and over again.
Okay.
Like Lee Evans is just like, oh, that's so weird. Stab, 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 stab.
See, that sounds like a solid joke.
It's a pretty alright joke.
Yeah, I don't remember much about this one at all.
Scott Adkins told a fun story from the set of this where he's doing his fight scene with Jackie and he doesn't go like 100% like Jackie would want you to. And so Jackie's like, no, you gotta go harder. And then like Sammo behind the camera just starts screaming, hit him harder. And so he's like, okay. But then like he looks at Jackie's stunt team and Jackie's stunt team's like, you better be careful. And so he's just sitting there like as a young stunt performer, not like a huge star yet, and he's so conflicted. He's like, do I hit him or not?
It must be terrifying fighting Jackie Chan.
No,
it must be
good.
Absolutely terrifying. You wouldn't know how to hit him.
So I mean, this isn't an absolutely atrocious movie. It's definitely not Shanghai Nights.
Right.
But at the same time, there's no amazing fight scene like there is in Who Am I?
Okay, so there's nothing really to elevate this
No,
one
the
slightly
fights
above.
with like Scott Adkins and like some other henchmen, like Scott Adkins is like the heavy kind of in this movie, but like there's no like incredible final fight or nothing. It's thoroughly ish entertaining, but I mean, I'm maybe never gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I can't see myself settling down to watch the medallion anytime. Did Sammo do the choreography as well then?
Maybe it's either like him or like Andy Chang or something.
Yeah, I can't see myself watching this one in the future. It's one that I remember watching. I don't remember being fond of, and it's just kind of fallen away. And I probably won't pay attention to it ever again.
I don't think it's an absolutely atrocious movie, but I think C sounds right.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's move Thunderbolt because we haven't seen it. We've done the bottom. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that feels good. I just it's not horrible, but it's not it's not anything special at all. But
Okay.
that is our lineup there. How do you feel about any of that? Do you think any of this needs to move up or down? Anything needs changing?
It's difficult. I'm looking at the A tier, and I kind of go, oh, should Police Story 2 be honorary Oscar? But I'm happy with it. I'm definitely content with how things look. I think people could argue. That's the thing with Jackie Chan. I think a lot of people have favorite films, but are they his best films, if that makes sense? I don't think necessarily, City Hunter. I love City Hunter. Is it his best film? Nowhere close, but I love it. So I think, he's a very, he's a actor and director that kind of generates a lot of different opinions about all his films. So, I'm happy with how it looks.
I think so too. I think Who Am I and Rumble in the Bronx are probably going to make some people mad. And there's maybe even someone out there who's really going to be upset that The Prisoner Island of Fire is so low. But you know what? That's where it is. Everybody take a look at what we got here. A lot of stuff in A, much more heavy stuff towards the top, where the last one, it was really like so even down the entire thing. But this one is definitely, more skewed upwards. Yeah. A lot less like top tier honorary Oscar movies than I thought we would have.
Yeah, I think towards, let's just say, after Drunken Master, he started, I guess, he got to Hollywood and then things started going a bit uneven. And even his late 90s, Rumble in the Bronx and things like that. He just had a slew of kind of average films. Rumble in the Bronx, First Strike, Mr. Nice Guy. They're just all like kind of average fun movies. And he didn't. It's crazy. I don't think has he had a classic or like an honorary Oscar film since Drunken Master. In
my opinion, something like New Police Story. I love New Police Story.
That's a fantastic film. I agree with you. I agree. I would put that up there.
And it's not particularly a Jackie Chan movie, but Shaolin. He's more of a supporting role in that.
Good point. Yeah, I watched Shaolin recently, and that is a fantastic film. He's great in it. Yeah.
But yes, everybody, take a look at this. Think about what you agree with, and think about what makes you angry. Tell us what you agree with. Tell us what you don't. This is what we've done. And think about all that. I don't know if I want to, or if you want to do a third one and finish out his career. Maybe I'll let people comment below and tell me if they want that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think after this may be a bit of a struggle because we don't have we have Rob B. Hood and films like that. I've never
seen Rob B. Hood. I've never seen Spy Next Door, or whatever the crap it's called.
I've never seen Spy Next Door.
Never seen those. What I have seen is Kung Fu Yoga, and it's absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, and then there's like The Myth as well.
I've seen The Myth once. I don't remember hating it, but nothing.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. But nothing like sticks out to me on it.
No, and there's like films like Skip Trace, which I never saw that either.
The best part about it is Jackie Chan sings Adele.
Well, if that's the best part,
Jackie's got a beautiful voice.
He's a great singer, yeah.
But yes, tell us all what you think about that. Shaun, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm foo_for_thought. That's where I do most of my posting. And you can listen to my podcast, basically on all good places where podcasts are found. Look for Foo for Thought. And then our next episode is going to be, we just did an episode on the Grandmaster, which was a very highbrow episode for us. And then the next episode, we're going to do the Shaw Brothers film, 5 Super Fighters. So looking forward to that one.
I'm excited for that because I've never seen the 5 Super Fighters, and you'll finally give me a reason to watch it.
Oh, it's good stuff.
I will leave a Linktree link down below in the info section. So head down there, give that a look, find out where you want to find his podcast, give it a listen, give him a follow on Instagram. I am Martial Arts Film Freak on Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page, Tristan_Glover on the Twitter where I do almost nothing. And I'm on TikTok where I'm starting to do almost nothing. Yes, do all those things. Follow, like, share, subscribe. Go listen to the podcast. Tell us what you think of the things we've done here. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.